Yeah. Bravo Picasso. Let's go. When it hurts them to see a night to bend divine. No. Cyberspace made everyone stars online. Yeah. Whoa, a place where you get shadow banned, speaking truth to the light. Promise I would always stay true to myself. I swear they can't censor me, alright. They shooting stars in the streets and broad daylight. Yo, so we here. Today's topic, or topics I'm gonna dive into, you know, how I feel personally. The mall used to be what social media is today, which also overlaps into another talking point about AI and just how sensitive it is to people out there figuring out how to incorporate it with what they got going on. And so could you check the camera for a second? And so everything's still on. And so perfect. And so this song I got right here, it's from Final Form, called Digital Paradise. And it's a bit of a foreshadow into not only where the world was going, but also hinting to the projects that I was already working on around that time, which was Captain Blackjack Sparrow and Digital Butterfly. And in Digital Paradise, I'm talking about how everyone online is trying to create their own version of paradise on their pages. But as you and I know, if you don't own your content or your material, or not even so much the material, more so the platform that the material is shared on, and engaging with an audience, you may think you have leverage because you post a lot, but those platforms, and I'm probably speaking from a place of obvious experience because I don't have my Facebook anymore, right? Let's say that was one of my digital paradises. Well, being that it allegedly got hacked, and I tried to get assistance from the Meta to recover and repair that paradise, they didn't seem it was that important. No matter if it was the emails, the countless calls, the countless filing for appeals, none of that shit registered, went through. And so you're just left with, damn, like that whole paradise cultivated over the years, because I didn't make that platform, own that platform, or I'm not a significant person to the platform, I'm easily discardable, and therefore so is your paradise. And so it's interesting because a creator is going to create regardless, right? And when I was in the mall the other day with wifey on break, feel me? Probably getting like a slice of pizza from the Sicilian spot. We always go topside, meaning There's like an area where you can eat above the cafe food court level. You know what I mean? We could be right there, or we could be, balcony. You know what I'm saying? Just really to ourselves. I like to have the bird's eye view to see who's coming in from the entrances and stuff like that, and to just not be around people, even though it's a bit spaced out and there's not that many people in Ithaca Mall. So really, whether you were at the bottom level, it doesn't really change too much. But when you up there, not too many people eat up there at all. So it's just like VIP for us to just eat there. You know what I'm saying? And not be bothered by anything or anyone. Like, you're gonna have to, put some footsteps in to bother us. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at how Spencer's is finally closing down. What an era. That shit's been running for so long, and you say to yourself, like, damn, like, a lot of stores are coming and going, and I think it's because we got smartphones where, all of these apps, we're able to make purchases lightning speed. You know what I'm saying? They got TikTok shops, Facebook Marketplace. I'm sure Instagram got its own variation of a shop where you see ads of people shops on Instagram and you check they shit out to another link, and you're seeing the world and what it has to offer, to where you realize, like, why get some shit that the mannequin got in a clothing store in a mall, when if I have a sharp eye on things, on what's out there, or a keen eye on what's out there that, shows a variation in taste, you know what I'm saying? Or it could be a lot of creators out there that aren't like big branded businesses, you know what I'm saying? Like, but they locked on an idea and a pattern and a style, and you pay for the customizations. Like, for me, I always got my shit custom, period. Whether I was in the flea market, whether I was in an actual designer store or a regular clothing store, Old Navy, even if I got something from any one of those stores, I would have it in me to probably rip up the jeans or cut them up a certain way, or bleach them a certain way, or patch them a certain way. I got one-piece patches right now that I plan to iron on a couple of jackets or whatever. Like, I'm always just layering up just because of my standard and my taste and how I see myself, without no apology. It's not a defense mechanism to anything. It's just what is, right? And for the longest, people still would not trust eBay as much. I recently had a situation happen where you would think that it drops the trust, but at the same time, I'm still a person who needs to understand the losses, right? It might not feel good in taking the loss in that moment if you're not getting your shit, and scammers, you know what I'm saying, they working overtime. Some people out there that can get your information off these social apps. That's what they're also not saying on these social apps, is that when your credit card is integrated with your social media and your driver's license and all of that, it's more information that you're giving those apps for people to get at you, to get that information, if that makes sense, right? So it's like, what I'm saying is, social media is the mall. It's the digital paradise of a mall. It's what the mall used to be. The mall used to have, and I'm talking all malls all across America. All malls would have that thing about them. The food court, the entertainment gaming zone, the clothing zone, the technology zone. Like, every mall had those areas covered, you know. And the mall where I reside at, right, it's a vacant. I mean, Christ, like when COVID happened, they was using that shit like a concentration camp. That's not what I said. Having motherfuckers get poked up the nose with some shit, and it's a whole driving line. It just looked wild, right? Some utopian shit, right? And yeah, I mean, I don't know what they'll do with the space and the land once every store is just like out completely, right? But it's just sad, like no one goes outside like that. Back then, I'm 33 for those that don't know. And back then I remember going to the mall, to link up with your friends, or you probably rocking a fly outfit, or you're getting ready to buy a fly outfit. Cop the shoes from one place, you cop the fitted from another. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these malls around the world, man, they had some unique stores where you're like, oh, okay, like I could really piece up a fit and be fresh, for the first few days going back to school. And then you would swap the shit you got with older shit to make the older outfits stand out a little bit, or you know what I mean? It's just knowing how to mix it up, right? And so it's like the mall had those type of perks. Plus you had the movie theaters connected to the mall. Go to Target real quick, get the snacks, go to the movie theater, done. You know what I'm saying? Or you get the movie theater experience and get all of that shit right there at the theaters, right? But it was that pre-game sense of, before we hit the movies, like you might run up to Best Buy real quick, or check out the games, or go to GameStop back when GameStop used to be there, check out the games and systems, whatever. Now it's like you can't even go to a GameStop because there are no GameStops anymore. The last physical GameStop that was downtown, I think they're already out or on their way out. You know what I'm saying? So and then of course you had the degenerates that would fuck shit up, would fight people, rob people, parking lot to be all, at a integrated Olive Garden or Applebee's. Like, there's been some wild shit, that'll also be one of the grounds where you could probably talk to a fly chick, you know what I'm saying, on the escalator, y'all both pass, and it's like, you know what I mean, like you might have that moment. The mall had moments of interacting with each other, and we do a lot of interacting with each other on our phones, on these applications that we don't own, and we socialize on them, and then it harvests our conversations, our data, everything we like, our interests, the people we would like to see more often. It figures that out for us, because the government found a way for all of us to just tell on ourselves, oh, he wearing that, so he probably ballparking around this much money, or oh, he pulled up with that ride, so we could check if that's really how he flexing his muscles out here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's really, everybody just playing I Spy, right? But the mall, it's funny because even though the mall was lit when it was packed, I like it when people are not in it, and it's like it becomes almost like an exclusive hideout spot, where it's low key. You know what I'm saying? Where, you could eat on the balcony without so many heads on the same balcony having the same idea as you eating up there. You know what I'm saying? And what social media has done is just made everything easily accessible, on top of it being, marketed as having a good time because you're on the internet seemingly having a good time, when it was like back then you look forward to, like I said, linking up with your people, going to the mall, or you looked forward to the actual interaction. Now it's everything is digital, like I said on my song Digital Paradise. You know what I'm saying? And nothing's wrong with that. You just need to know what comes with that, and if you build up a platform and you've built yourself up from that platform, a lot of local people feel like, yo, where you been at? I thought you left the town, I thought you moved. And that's just because I don't post a lot, and I can't post at all because I don't have a Facebook, and I'm not gonna remake a Facebook. I felt like Facebook betrayed me. I felt like as a Facebook Patreon over the years, they should have found a legit way to recover my account. But again, I'm not a celebrity that has a say so in the market's attention, right? I'm pretty sure if I was Jay-Z, if I was Drake, anybody really in the game, I just use like the top of the top just to show you like that Facebook most definitely would need an official Drake page. If Drake is everywhere else on social media and not Facebook, I'm pretty sure Facebook would reach out to Drake to see how they would package and take care of Drake's image on Facebook. It's not to say that people in the world wouldn't have his image already on that platform talking about him, but if Drake also had a page, whether his team runs it or not, to take care of that image, it guarantees a certain audience hopping on Facebook to get the official news of whatever Drake or his brand may be dropping or talking about, right? Even if he primarily posts on Instagram or X, which is formerly known as Twitter, right? So all I'm saying is that a good way to like lock in on your audience and your fan base would be definitely to get emails and definitely interact with people that interact with you. Obviously you gotta vet what to interact to and who to interact to. Everybody gonna have some nice things to say, everybody gonna have some mean things to say. It's the internet. Like the internet is where people feel safe to say the shit that they always wanted to say, and they're protected because they're saying it to a phone from far away. Whereas if I told somebody to pull up and meet me at the mall, if you're trying to see about that work or that business, it's like you gotta be there, and if you're not there, we know why you're not there. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when word of mouth might get around on social platforms that aren't as popping, and now it's like this social pressure of, at least I'm speaking from a back then time period. Now it's like the social pressure around that time is when you go to school. You know what I'm saying? And then people might, like, how come you didn't pull up at the mall? Like, we was all there, we was about to record, we was about to all, and so the word of mouth was like the first stage of social media. And then what happened is that now we're in a world where tech companies and people that understand the word of mouth angle is so important on not only building narratives and stories, but now we got tech to where we can dress up the news or the information, and we'll even throw a store in there for you to buy whatever, and maybe it's another person on that platform that is also selling something, so now you could DM that person. They made it, even though it feel like it's direct to consumer, it's still not your clientele fan base because it's the platforms that you're on. You're just using the platform to engage to the person you might know in real life or the person you don't, and you're trying to see if they'll invest, right? Whether that be time into the attention of what I'm doing, right? That's why you following me, or it's I'm making something that you have an interest in listening to or buying, and so that's how you invest in me. But either way, you know, I hear people say it a lot. It became interest media, and you know, it's just crazy how all the stores now, and I'm even seeing it from a local standpoint, where all the stores that was once upon a time in the mall, they've now shifted downtown, you know what I'm saying, as separate stores, because the mall was like a social platform. The mall had the IP of every store in one place, so that way, you know, the mall can generate money, you know, and it could also pay off the stores or whatever it is, and then people could just shop here frequently instead of like, so boom, like if a Chick-fil-A is in the mall, instead of going to a Chick-fil-A off an exit somewhere, right? You can go to a Chick-fil-A in the mall, and when you done eating, you could then have the thought of, yo, now I want a pretzel, now I want ice cream, or yo, now I want to go shopping for some clothes, or yo, now I want to, from doing all of that, man, like I'm having such a good day just splurging money, I'm gonna catch a movie. Yo, you wanna go see a movie? Yo, let's get a movie. Let's get the large popcorn, butter it up, run the nachos, like give me the root beer. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just more ways to spend money in one place. You know what I'm saying? It's just more. You could get the GameStop games. You know what I mean? It's just more ways to spend your money in a place that seemingly is a paradise for it all. And now, where I live, I think a lot of the stores are like, you know, to be honest, we rather make our own money knowing that people are coming to our stores physically to buy what it is they want for them, right? And I think that's the mindset. But even then, right, they still have to compete with technology, right? Because Amazon, like I said, eBay, you know, Etsy, these outlets, you know, it's a time, you save time. I was talking to my girl about something the other day. I think it was probably curtains, and before you know it, she already bought them. Like I wasn't saying to buy them. I was just like, yeah, I think we just need like a certain aesthetic. Maybe check it out on Amazon. You know, normally I would wait on things depending on me trying to calculate the funds, or how bad do I really need it, or you know, if I had it, what would I do with it right away? Like I try to just figure out what makes sense to then justify spending the money, right? But that's how instantaneous it is. You know, you have the money, there it is. It tells you, yo, it's gonna be here Monday or Friday. You feel me? And that's the only thing that being in real time and as a person just going to a store, like instead of hopping in traffic, right? Instead of hopping in traffic, you know, you probably got to get gas, you know, no accidents. You know what I'm saying? You at home. All you got to do is just put that shit in the shopping cart, press a button, and it's done. Curtains come that Monday, that Friday, and it's done. You don't have to wait too long. You know what I mean? You can expedite the process for more bread. So it's like, it's weird because on one hand, you can do it so fast that you could be overly compulsive on just spending. And then on the same side of that, it's not instant gratification because you still gotta wait.
Like going to the mall, it was instant gratification of everything. You could have got the greasy food, the 2-hour long movie that's action packed, the entertainment zone. You could, shoot, play basketball in there, air hockey, pool, whatever. GameStop, like I said, instant dopamine rush. You could buy the game off the shelf. That's it. Probably read the mag of what it, what you got to do in the game and strategy guides. Like, it was instant. And it's like shopping now, it's like it's not as instant. The shipping feels like it's instant because, maybe it's just nearby that it could get to you nearby. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe there's just a warehouse where it has that same item. You know what I mean? And so it just gets outsourced to whatever's closer to you to then feel like it's, super early, but nothing beat right away. You know what I mean? That's like me ordering something right now off Amazon, like right now, and then, what is it? 8:32 by like, let's be generous and say like 9:30. You get it in an hour. You know what I'm saying? You get it in an hour in the same day. Yo, if shipping got to that speed, of getting that shit the same day, that'd be crazy. But that was the feeling of going to a mall, right? Where they had, the preset basic things to shop for. You're gonna get the basic clothes to shop for. You're gonna get the same clothes that your mans and your, everybody else got at school because y'all went to the same spots. For the internet, if you already had a keen eye for low-key spots that had rare shit in real life, antique shops that got real shit for the cheap, or you just know how to trade with whatever you got. And then on top of that, you have the keen eye of finding content creators or people with crazy merch online that is one of one, that is home ground, and you know what I mean? It has to build up to become an infrastructure. You know what I'm saying? You tap in with those people, and now what ends up happening is you stand out like a sore thumb because it's like people can't easily get the shit you got because they just wasn't paying attention to what was around them, or it probably wasn't in their network, or they just didn't see it like how you seen it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it takes you to see an outfit, to bring it to life and then inspire people to be like, wow, like I would have never wore that hat by itself, but the way how he wore that hat with the shoes and the bootcut jeans with the like that's crazy how he put it together. Like and he got the confidence and he got humility, and he ain't even like he fresh, but he ain't doing too much to show he fresh. The too much is getting the latest phone and you hold it up to your ear unnecessary, but no one on the phone, but you just want to show the color off. I still do that, but I do that even when I'm by myself. You know what I mean? Just because that's me. That's just the personality that I hold. But yeah, nah, man. I mean, the topic was, just how social media, became the new shopping mall. You know what I'm saying? As much as I appreciate, not too many eyes in one place, and I could chill and eat a meal without worrying about, anybody that I don't rock with showing up, or, it'd just be all sorts of things. You know what I mean? I don't have to worry about shit. Like I'm in public, but it's low-key public. You know what I'm saying? Instead of everybody everywhere all at once, overstimulated, over anxiety, like you feeling everybody's wavelength of energy when you run into an actual packed shopping mall with tiers and floors. It's like, maybe in bigger cities where it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Obviously that's the speed of that area, but a lot of people mitigate that by just shopping online, because a lot of people don't like really interacting with all of that, or they don't like how they feel in settings like that because of the energy. But everybody, I feel like, want their own digital paradise of some kind. And even being on YouTube, I'm trying to figure out how to cultivate my fan base and talk music while talking, what's going on currently and how I see things. So you know what I'm saying? Like, that's definitely a topic on the board. The way how it segues into AI, I think I'm gonna just save that for the next video. So yeah, man. If you tuned in, appreciate you. Leave a like, comment. How do you feel about, the mall in your city, your town? Drop where you from, you know what I mean? Have you noticed any changes? Have you seen stores come and go? Lifetime stores that have been there since you was a kid? Are you seeing them pack it up and move shit in boxes now? Like, because it's vacant on our side. It ain't too many left, and I'm starting to think that, at some point, it'll just be reused for something else. But yeah, man. Let me know your thoughts below.